Right now, without thinking about it, you are wearing something. Maybe it feels like protection. Maybe it feels like identity. Maybe it just feels normal. But the real answer to why you are dressed at all is far stranger than you have ever been told. Clothing is not about temperature. That is the version you learned in school. The real origin of what you put on your body every morning is tangled up in parasites, status, ritual, and a form of social signaling so ancient it predates language itself. Here is where it starts. Around 170,000 years ago, something happened in a small African population of early Homo sapiens. Researchers know this not because of cave paintings or stone tools. They know it because of lice. Human body lice, Pediculus humanus, are genetically distinct from head lice. They can only survive in clothing. When geneticists at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology sequenced their DNA, they found that body lice split from head lice between 83,000 and 170,000 years ago. That split is the oldest physical timestamp of clothing in the archaeological record. No fabric survives that long, but lice do. So your earliest ancestors started wearing something. But why? Ice Age humans in Africa did not need insulation. The climate at that moment was actually warming. The parasite evidence points to clothing appearing before the temperatures required it, which means something else was happening first. Anthropologist Ian Gilligan has spent decades arguing that the first coverings were not worn for warmth. They were worn for ritual, for display, for the kind of social meaning that only humans generate. The animal skin draped over a body was not a coat. It was a signal. It said something about who you were, what you had killed, what power you carried. Think about that. The first piece of clothing was not practical. It was a performance. And that matters because it means your relationship with what you wear has never really been about survival in the physical sense. It has always been about survival in the social sense. By 40,000 years ago, the evidence gets richer. Bone needles appear at sites across Europe and Asia, including those studied by archaeologist Nicholas Cunard at sites in southern Germany. These were not crude puncture tools. They were fine, precise instruments with delicate eyes. They were made to stitch. Someone, somewhere, was tailoring. That means fit. That means intention. That means clothing was already being shaped to mean something specific about the person inside it. Here is the counterintuitive part. Clothing did not follow the invention of agriculture or civilization. It came tens of thousands of years before any of that. Which means your impulse to dress yourself every morning is one of the oldest continuous human behaviors that still exists. It is older than farming, older than writing, older than cities. What you pull on over your head before work is a ritual that stretches back to a world you would not recognize. The warmth function came later. When humans migrated north into colder climates, clothing was already there, waiting as a technology that could be adapted. The needle made it flexible. Tailored seams made it effective. But the symbolic layer never disappeared. Even among populations living in extreme cold, researchers like Lynn Milgram, studying textile traditions across cultures, have documented that what is worn carries social meaning that runs parallel to any functional purpose. The warmth and the signal have always existed together. And here is where it touches you directly. Walk into any room today. You assess the people in it within seconds. You are reading clothing, status, tribe, intention, risk. You are doing exactly what your ancestor did when they saw another human draped in a particular skin 100,000 years ago. The brain processing that visual data has barely changed. You do not choose what you wear just to cover yourself. Research in behavioral psychology, including studies by Hayo Adam and Adam Galinsky at Northwestern University, shows that specific clothing actually alters how your brain performs. What you wear changes your cognition. Put on something that signals authority, and your attention narrows. Your error rate drops. The clothing is not just a signal to others, it is a signal to you. That is what makes this so strange. Humans evolved to read clothing as information. Then humans evolved to feel clothing as instruction. The costume became the self. So when you look in the mirror tomorrow morning and choose what to put on your body, understand that you are not solving a temperature problem. You are doing something that the very first Homo sapiens did when they first draped a skin across their shoulders and felt different because of it. You are performing yourself into existence. You are sending a signal into a world that has been reading signals like that for longer than civilization has existed. Right now, without thinking about it, you are wearing something. And now you know exactly what it means.